What is up, fight fans? We got Glove Talk episode 15. I'm here with my boy Jose.
Yo, yo.
We're going to talk about UFC Fight Night, Kai Car France versus Amir Albazi, and then we're going to get into UFC, UFC 289 for Nunes versus Aldana. So
Yeah, 289.
start here at the prelims. We had Philip Lins versus Max Grishin. Philip Lins getting the decision win here, which I thought was the right decision. He controlled more of the cage time, but I feel like Max Grishin did have more damage in the fight, but Philip Lins, showing more control, and Max Grishin has to show that he can get out the clinch a little better because he was just stuck along the fence for majority of the fight. But he did have some good elbows off the clinch though.
Yeah, Felipe Lins, man, a lot of hugging. A lot of hugging on the cage, keeping him up against the cage all the time. Grisham had a lot of good exchanges when they would break the clinch. A lot of good elbows in there, like you were talking about. A lot of hugging against the cage, man. It was a weird fight for me to start the card. Like it had its moments, and I'm like whatever. Not really, didn't really catch my eye. I'm not a fan of guys just holding other guys up against the cage. So
And
yeah,
that's just the bottom half of the light heavyweight division. It's just not the best fights. One of the weaker divisions in the UFC.
yeah.
Now
I mean,
that flyweight and them have gone good, so
Lins is coming off beating the perennial trash can known as OSP. So I mean, it looks nice on his record, I guess. I don't know. Not a fan of that fight, but hey, he got the win. Right call. The 30-27 score was a little wild to me, though. But no, I'll take it.
And then we had Damon Blackshear getting the TKO finish over Lon Lucerda, getting the ground and pound and hurting him on the ground. Didn't he was losing the fight up to that point, I think, and then
Yep.
ended up getting the ground and pound and hurting him on the ground. So good win out of Damon Blackshear. I don't think that ups his stock that much because he didn't really look like crazy good, but plus his bantamweight, so it's a tough division. But
Yeah. I mean, the Damon Blackshear was ready for the leg kicks. He came in that Muay Thai stance, like light on the front foot, lifting up his knee a lot. And Lacerda was going to get the finish if Blackshear doesn't knock him out right there. He definitely came back. Good knockout, good way to stay in the fight for him. Being able to get the TKO in that way. I think Lacerda, man, he's just so aggressive. He kind of loses sense of, hey, I can still get knocked out even though I'm trying to grab your leg type of deal. And for Damon Blackshear, he has a lot of hype behind him. He has for a while, and like you said, doesn't really up his stock this win because he was getting hurt and he was getting dominated on the ground in the fight for most of it. So I mean, Damon Blackshear, he still got time. It's tough. It's bantamweight division. It's the toughest division in the UFC. You got to do stuff that stands out if you want to move up in that division.
then we had a women's strawweight bout. We had Lucy Reed versus Wen Yu Fry. Lucy Reed getting the decision win here. Um, just another lackluster women's fight. None of these two girls are that impressive to me, at least. And it's also strawweight, so I don't know.
Yeah, Elise Reed was honestly, she had her moments with good kicks, but then the rest of it was just boring. It was a very boring fight, very sloppy. It's a filler fight at the end of the day. That's what it was. I didn't know who either of them were coming into this fight, and I'm probably gonna forget them after we do this episode. If I'm being honest, it was lackluster, man. But again, we have the spectrum when it comes to these cards where you have the sloppy big boy heavyweight fights, and then the almost 500 record strawweight strawweight and flyweight women's fights in there where it's just mid. You got I think both divisions have a spectrum where the 500 guys and the 500 girls, the ones that have records that are like 7-6 or something like that, they just end up fighting each other on fight night cards. And
There's not that many guys who have that kind of record, though.
heavyweight though there is. That's the thing. A
They
heavyweight,
have at least I don't know.
it's sloppy. That's what I'm saying. No, it's sloppy. Like it was, at least at heavyweight, they knock each other out. It's watching this like I knew there wasn't gonna be a knockout. I'm just sitting there like, okay, what's gonna happen? It's just sloppy wrestling, sloppy striking. It's not entertaining to watch. But at the end of the day, it's a fight night card. I can't have my expectations too high. I watched the fight. I regret watching it. Move on.
I think this card started off kind of slow, but I think it actually starts getting better You
Yep.
know, after I started going. So then we have my guy Jamie Malarkey ended up getting knocked out by Muhammad Naimov. Naimov showing that he's a very wild guy. He's throwing a lot of wild spinning kicks. Jamie Malarkey, you know, showing he control the space with the jab and stuff like that, showing he was better on the ground. But Muhammad coming and just catching him with he backed up and then just dropped that right hand and caught it in there. So um, I don't know. I still like Jamie Malarkey. I think he just got caught here, but it shows that. And I think Maiev got the call for this fight like on Tuesday too. So
3 days notice. He had 3 days notice for the fight.
it shows he belongs in the UFC.
Yep.
But he just got
Uh,
to improve his grappling. So
Malarkey went from the biggest underdog on the card to the biggest favorite after Kuduladze, dropped out of the fight. But Naimov, man, making his debut, representing Tajikistan, man. It shows that this sport anything can happen. And I think Naimov, man, he impressed me for sure. He showed that he belongs, and for Jamie Malarkey, it's tough. You take a fight on short notice. This is what can happen. You can't really prep for the guy you're fighting, and Naimov, man, he's a dog. I loved what in the fight, and you can tell that if he has a full camp, he would have fought even better. Yeah, no, looked really good, man. I was impressed. It was this. This was definitely like you said. This is where the card kind of started turning upwards. Was this fight right here?
yeah, and then we had John Castaneda versus Muin Gafurov. Castaneda getting a decision win at this battle in this bantamweight fight. Was Gafurov? Is he in the same camp as Naimiev from the last fight?
No, he is actually in the Naimov trains with Gaethje at Elevation. He trains with
Okay.
Kamaru and Gaethje and them. Gafurov trains out of Virginia Beach and he trains with Marab sometimes. And stuff. And they were talking about that the whole thing, like, oh, his cardio. He wrestles with Marab, and even though Castaneda was taking him down whenever he wanted to, Castaneda looked great, man. Honestly, he had a lot of good moments. He weathered the storm when Gafurov was being super aggressive and
Cut the pedo.
doing the headbutt stuff. Like he was leading with his head or whatever, which I get. He's trying to feint takedowns, but you can't lead your strikes with heads. You can't do that.
And then we had Dante Maes, knocking out Andre Alarski, and this is kind of like a sloppy fight. And for real. And then Dante Miles, I thought Dante Miles was going to tire out and then he was going to lose, but he ended up, catching him in round two. And I think this should be the last fight for Andre. He's been in there for a while. I'm tired of seeing these older guys staying in there for too long. And you start getting losses against guys like Dante Miles, like Maes, like come on now.
I think they'll give him another fight. He's won 4 out of his last 6. It's going to be the narrative. Dontel Mays Dontel Mays did what I expected him to do. It just took him way too long, in my opinion. Like, you should not be letting Andrei Arlovsky land shots on you in 2023. I'm just being honest. The man has pillow hands now at this point. His power is gone. He's 44. No disrespect to him. It's just this is what it is. Dontel Mays is 6'6", had every advantage in reach and height. Stronger guy, younger guy, quicker guy. And like he did put him out eventually, but it was sloppy, like you said. It wasn't technical. But I mean, it's one of the better heavyweight fights I've seen in a minute, so I'm not complaining too much. But like I said,
I know you hate those fight night heavyweight fights.
yeah, Fight Night mid, almost 500 record, sloppy big boy heavyweight fights, right? Andrei Arlovsky, this is his 44th or 40th UFC appearance, right? Mid, mid, very mid the record, very mid the fight. I mean, it's a filler fight. I'm not too worried about it. It is what it is.
Then we had Daniel Santos fighting. I think he fights out of shoot the box, right?
Yeah.
Fighting Johnny Munoz, showing that he was better on the ground, holding the guy. He pulled a Belil low key. I'm not gonna lie, he pulled a Belil. He was just in the guy's guard, holding him in the guard for pretty much the whole fight. So, and he won all 3 rounds in my card. So I agree with the decision win there.
Johnny Munoz, if you ever watch this, I want you to know you're not Paul Craig. You need to stop. You're not Chrome Gracie either. Actually, no, you are Chrome Gracie after yesterday. Like, what was that? Bro just pulling guard, doing the butt scooching, doing body triangles from bottom. Like, fight, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. And if you're gonna be on the ground, like he almost got a triangle. Santos got out of it, and then that's it. Like he didn't really have any offense on the ground. It's a 15-minute fight, and Santos had 10 minutes, almost 11 of ground control time with Johnny Munoz pulling guard. I mean, good fight for Santos though. He got the win. He did what he had to do. It's just Johnny
I feel like
Munoz, man.
his last fight he got robbed, so I feel like he was trying to just come in here and get the win.
Yeah, and Johnny Munoz, man, you can't be doing that. This is not butt scooching and stuff. That's you're doing BJJ tournaments. I get that. This is MMA, man. You can't be doing body triangles from bottom. I don't know. He didn't seem like he wanted that win, for being honest. But it is what it is.
And then I don't even know how to pronounce homie name.
Abubakar Nurmagomedov versus
Versus-
Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos.
Yeah, I wasn't even gonna get that name. And then the split decision went going to Santos. I seen on Twitter people were complaining, thinking that um, Abakar got the win, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I
agree
love
with the
Verdict.
Santos winning, but I also can see it going the other way as well. So
Yeah, I love Verdict. Verdict scored it for Nurmagomedov, which I disagree with. Let's be honest. He's not Habib. He's not Umar. He's not Usman. He's
he's not
not
Islam.
Islam. He's not any of them. I don't know. I don't know what Abubakar is. Supposedly he's Habib's cousin. I don't know. He must be a good coach because he's. I don't know. He's a welterweight. He's one of the bigger guys in that clan, right? And it just wasn't imposing at all. Like it was, he would grab the guy and stay glued to him in the clinch, right? But he wouldn't do anything with it. He wasn't able to really take him down. He wasn't really able to do anything that
The
fight.
game plan I feel like is more like about around control. You know,
Yeah,
it's not really because you look at Khabib, you look at Islam. They're trying to get the finishes. You know, but I feel like
yeah.
he's just trying to get control. And I feel like even Islam, if he went up to welterweight, he probably could do better.
You look at Islam and Habib and Umar now, and like yes, they get control because they are, if we're being honest, some of the best grapplers in the world today. But they go for damage and they go for the finish, and I think Abubakar just didn't do that. Like Dos Santos, when he was able to stay on the feet, landing nasty leg kicks, being able to get his offense up, and being able to defend. He did a very good job staying on his feet. Did a very good job defending Abubakar's offense because Abubakar's offense wasn't striking. It was grappling, but it was lazy grappling in my opinion. It wasn't like he was going in there trying to win the fight or finish the fight.
Like these takedowns, like Usman, man, like
Yeah,
Kamar.
yeah. And so, and to the people that were complaining, I love Verdict. This is one of the few times I'm ever going to disagree with Verdict. But Abubakar didn't win the fight, for being honest. You look at damage, you look at, control, all that. Zaleski dos Santos did what he had to do. Yeah, he did what he had to do, and he fought a good fight. And again, dos Santos coming off last time he fought was when Glover beat Jan.
Oh wow,
So
that was a minute ago.
yeah, he had a tainted supplement. He had some injuries and issues. So
Pain supplement.
tainted supplement. I mean, listen. I've seen it. Yoel had that issue too. It happens. And if you saw it, if you listen, everybody does something. If we're being honest, everybody does something. But no, Dos Santos, man, did what he had to do. Good win. We'll see what he has at welterweight. It's an interesting division to put him in. If he can piece it together.
Then we have Karine Silva getting the submission win over Kelton Souza. You know, destroying her knee. And she's 100% finishes. You know, and she's getting a lot of submissions. So she's a girl to look out for in flyweight. And she didn't fight a scrub either. You know, Souza is actually a girl who
Yeah.
had 59 finishes. You know, by on the feet. So. Um, Green taking it to the ground, and then she was in her guard, and then she just dragged back, and then she locked in the leg. So
Yeah, she did. It was like an ankle lock, but she twisted it to the side, so it kind of made like a knee bar almost. And as soon as she went, when you get caught in an ankle lock, like when I've been in one, you don't feel it until they lock it in because there's no pressure until they go backwards. The problem with this one was her leg was sideways, so as soon as she went back, the pressure went on the ankle, but the knee popped as well because it's twisting as she's pushing out and twisting back. So when I saw it at first, I'm like, oh, it's a straight ankle lock. I not surprised she tapped quick. Those hurt, and then the replay, that little in her knee. Oh my gosh, man, that's brutal. And Karine Silva, that's a killer instinct to be able to grab that, do that real quick, finish it, man. She impresses me, man. I want to see more of her at flyweight. There's a lot of good fights you can make for her at flyweight, and she's game. She's fresh now. Didn't take any damage in the fight. She wants to go in there and kill people, man. I want to see more of her for sure.
And then we had Tim Elliott getting the win over Victor Altamirano, the decision win in 3 round. Tim Elliott, with that weird fighting stance he was doing, that weird little dancing backup thing he was doing with his hands down, kind of baiting Victor Altamirano to come in because he knew he was going to shoot for takedowns. So every time he was in danger, he would just shoot and take Victor down. And so Victor needs to work on getting up off the ground and also stopping getting taken down as well.
So it's kind of about the fight and kind of not. Laura Sanko and Michael Bisping can't commentate a fight together. I've made that. I've really come to that conclusion. The amount of on-air flirting that was going on, that was just cringe. I'm trying to watch the fights, bro. I don't need that. That's number one. Number two, Laura Sanko, we love you. You're amazing, but we get it. You train with Tim Elliott. You don't have to, convince us how good Tim Elliott is just because you train with him. Like, it was, the whole fight was like, Tim's freakishly strong. Tim can do this. Tim's got a killer. Tim's like, all right, we get it. You guys train out of the same gym. We get it, Laura. I don't
Like, we
care.
get it. You guys fucked one time.
Yeah, but she did that with James Krause too. But anyway, yeah, she probably snitched on him to the feds, for being honest. Nah.
No, she probably told DC and DC snitched. I can see DC being a snitch.
Oh man. Okay, I know DC was complaining about Jones popping or whatever. DC probably snitched on Jones, for being honest. We're going down a rabbit hole with this fight. Tim Elliott is weird. He fights weird. But Victor Altamirano, what are you doing, bro? Like, I'm being honest. Like, bro, just flailing around the ground, just looking like fish out of water. Laura Sanko's talking about Tim Elliott has a deadly Von Flu choke or something. I don't know, bro. The fight was weird. Tim Elliott was on top, didn't do anything. Then Altamirano almost finished him at the end, and I have to hear Brendan Fitzgerald, you're not good at your job. So the comment, this is where I start going off on the commentating on the fights. Fitzgerald gets bullied by Michael Bisping, butchers a bunch of names and facts during the fight, and his voice is just boring to listen to. So that's him. Michael Bisping definitely does lines of coke before he goes and commentates.
This thing's not the worst commentator. You just gotta have him with the right people.
You gotta have him with the right people. I love the energy. And listen, him doing the coke, I don't mind that. Because Joe Rogan shows up stoned every fight. I get it. But him and Felder or him and Dominic Cruz. Give me Michael Bisping, Dominic Cruz, something like that. Someone that can reel him in. Not this Laura Saint. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm listening to the fight, right? I'm trying to watch this, and I feel like Laura Sanko has a good case for #MeToo with Michael Bisping after what I listened to last night. Like, bro, y'all are married, man. Whatever y'all do, whatever. You're getting paid to announce the fight. I don't care about the inside jokes. I don't care about none of that, bro. Anyways, Tim Elliott got the win. I was not impressed. It was a weird fight. He's number 15 at flyweight. Nobody outside of numbers 9 or 10 matters at flyweight anyway. So you can stay down there. Let's move on, please.
We had the OG Jim Miller knocking out UFC newcomer Jesse Butler, right as commentary groups talking about how Jesse Butler's not a scrub and not someone they take lightly. He gets knocked out, and they don't even counter their point they just made. They just go on. Oh, Jim Miller knocks out, like ignoring the fact that y'all just was talking about how this is not an easy matchup. So
Let's be honest. It wasn't y'all. It wasn't y'all. It was Michael Bisping. It's always Bisping. It's always Bisping, bro. Like, he's talking about Jesse Butler had 16 fights in his career and 16 amateur fights. So he's experienced.
Jim Miller.
He's like, Jim Miller knocked him out. Literally just said flat. Jim Miller knocked him out. Like, bro, we're talking OG Jim Miller. Submission artist Jim Miller knocking Jesse Butler to go see his ancestors.
Out cold.
Like,
that's one of the meanest knockouts ever.
Bro said, Like, are you?
That uppercut when he was like leaning against the fence to finish him off, bro. That bro.
So my question is, again, this is my issue with the commentary. Jim Miller is a guy who, is an OG of the game. He's fought at UFC 100, 200, and is going to try to fight at 300, right? He wants to be the only guy to ever do that. The guy has a ton of records in the UFC. The guy has fought every single name imaginable at lightweight, right? And put on some of the best fights in UFC history. Like, show some respect, bro. Enjoy the moment. Talk about the moment. I don't know, man. Like I said, the commentary really ruined the card for me because of moments like this. Is a moment where, like, Matt Brown of last card or whatever. That's a moment where they let it soak in. Everybody enjoyed it. Like, yo, Matt Brown, the OG, did this. Like, no, they're like Jim Miller. They were like, oh, he got knocked out. Cool, whatever. Like, I, yeah, good. Honestly,
That was
Jim
one of
Miller
the
though.
biggest knockouts ever, too.
Yeah, I'm happy for Jim Miller though. I'm happy he got that knockout, man. And I hope he keeps fighting. He's one of those old guys where I actually do enjoy watching him fight.
Yeah, he's not like Clay Guida and stuff like that. It's not boring. But anyways, I digress. Then
Everybody's
we
getting
had
shots today. I love it.
fight of the night: Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. Alex Caceres doing some damaging body shots, bro. Like
Those
he
kicks
hit
are.
like 10 mean body kicks that each of them had Daniel like not wanting to go. The ref could have stopped the fight a couple times. I
Yeah,
feel like he was standing because he was backing up and he was walking away. I mean, but Caceres getting the decision win here. Pineda actually thugging it out to the end of the fight and actually catching him at the end of the fight, potentially being able to get the finish. So, Alex Caceres, he's just a dangerous featherweight. His length, his size, his striking is just, and his grappling is not terrible. Like it's not the worst either. So,
right.
but only thing I'd say about him, he's just his front leg is always there to be kicked. He's a little heavy on that, but I feel like he sets that up though. So
I think Casera is just a guy who the talent's always been there ever since he's been the Ultimate Fighter. Just got to piece it together, and he's won 7 of his last 8, so he kind of is, man. And he looked good. He looked really good. He looked very complete yesterday. Obviously, still got a couple of things to work on here and there. I just love at the end of the fight that call out at the end of the fight and how weird it was. Like, bro said, I want Yair to unify the belt so I can fight Volkanovski again. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a bet now. I don't know when I'm gonna die, but let's say it's 10 years from now. Yeah, Caceres and Volk will never fight. It's not happening. So great call out, man. You wasted a call out calling out Alexander Volkanovski, who's 14 spots ahead of you. Yeah, great job, man. And listen, shout out Bisping. He's like, because he called out. He did a good call out first. He's like, I want to fight guys above me. I'm number 15. Cool. Bisping goes, I know you don't usually do call outs, talking trash, getting personal, but there has to be one name that you want to fight. Like, no, Bisping, cut it. He already
yeah,
said.
I
He
hate when
already.
they try to force people to do call outs. Like they'll be like, I don't have any call outs. So like, there's got to be
Bro,
somebody.
my man asked Naimov, can I keep the hat? After Naimov won the fight, the hat, the Tajikistan thing he had, he's like, can I keep that hat? And Naimov just grabs it, takes it off his
Yeah,
head.
there's some Twitter memes about with him with the hat on.
Bro, Michael Bisping, I don't know what he was on. I don't know what he was on last night. It's just,
He's just a meme. He's just a meme.
yeah. But
But
Alex Caceres, good win. Pineda, man, he got chewed up. He's got to go back to the drawing board, do some work. He got chewed up on the feet, but good fight.
he showed his toughness.
Yeah,
In the main fight, we had Kai Car France losing to Amir Albazi by split decision. This is where you and me have some contention because I had Amir. I mean, I'm a Kai Car France, bro,
yeah.
fan. I want him to win. I wanted him to win against Brandon Moreno, but I just feel like, it was different than the Askarov fight. The Askarov fight was close, and they gave it out to Kai Car France. I feel like this fight was more one-sided on my scorecards. You thought Kai won. I had Amir 4-1, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think it's a matter of
What round did you give Kai?
I gave Kai 5, 4, and 1.
See, that sort of thing is I had Amir winning like the first 4 rounds. And then the only one I'd say is close is 4. Like I'd give 4 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. It's a matter of, do you value more control or do you value more damage?
Well, I don't
Um,
think Kai really had any damage in the first round, like serious. I felt like Amir landed the more heavier punches. Like Kai caught him more, like had more strikes, but I think Amir's punches did more damage. Like when he did land, and he was catching them. Like when Kai was throwing the jab, he was throwing the overhand off of the jab, and he was catching them a lot. So
this is why I hate the 10-point must system, where you have to score 10 points and have to give a winner for a round. Because let's be honest, 99% of MMA fights, the first round is a 9-9 if it gets out of the first round. High level ones, like main events. Um, so it's tough for me. I mean, listen, I think Adesanya going off on the judges, I get it. It's his teammate. He loves this guy. I get it. I don't think that's warranted, though. I do want to hear judges give interviews after fights and give their reasoning behind scoring stuff. I do think there needs to be accountability in that sense because a scorecard like this, like, I'm not angry it went to Albazi. It could have gone either way. If we're being brutally honest, it could have gone either way. But at the end of the day, it's like you see a 4-1, I see a 3-2. I think that's where it kind of shows, like, hey, it's not a robbery. It's not like everybody's like, bro, he beat the brakes off. No, like Kai Kara France was in trouble for most of the fight. It's just when he wasn't in trouble, he was very effective.
I just think he was backing up too much. I feel like if he fought the fight, like how
Yeah.
whenever more going forward, every time he fought going forward, he was winning. He just backed up too much, which I feel like he fought the Moreno fight going forward, and he ended up getting caught with that body kick. So I feel like he was trying to, I don't know.
No, this fight reminds me of it reminds me of his teammates fight. It reminds me of Volkanovski versus Islam in a way, where you got one guy super dominant in grappling, and the other guy just doing a decent enough job to defend it and winning the exchanges on the feet. Like, okay, but at the end of the day, I have to give it to the guy that. This is where, even though I gave it to Kai, I'm not angry because I have to agree with the guy that out grappled you for 5 rounds, if we're being honest. Because it's not like Kai had a knockdown. It's not like Kai
Yeah,
almost finished Amir. No, Amir was in control for most of that fight. And Amir almost finished the fight with that rear naked, so.
and also I felt you could noticeably see Kai added more weight. Like he looked a little bigger than when he usually looks, so that might have affected him. His movement maybe and his speed. But it was a good. I liked the fight. I enjoyed the fight. It was a high level flyweight fight. So we know who after Pantoja versus Moreno, it's definitely going to be Royval, or maybe set up the Royval versus Albazi and see who gets to fight after that. So,
Yeah, I think you can't have Albazi skip Royval, so I said, yeah, I agree with you. Make that Royval Albazi fight.
honestly, I wouldn't even care if they say no. Royval just gets it because his last finish was fucking clean. So
Yeah, and now Albazi's talking about, oh, Royval doesn't deserve one or this that. Like, come on, man, come on. We got to be honest here and call space spade. Like, you can say that, but he doesn't have enough pull at flyweight to be able to sit out and then demand a title fight. Like Royval is the guy right now outside of Pantoja and Moreno. You beat Kai Kara France. It wasn't convincing as we talked about. The split
yeah,
decision. Meanwhile, Brandon Royval is knocking dudes into the stratosphere. Like,
and he's got history with both these guys. So
yeah, and listen,
like,
Royval when he fought Brandon Moreno, the only reason he lost because he dislocated his shoulder. And I was watching that fight. It was a good fight. It wasn't like Brandon Royval was getting destroyed. He just dislocated his shoulder, and he still kept trying to fight. So and listen, nothing against Amir Albazi. He's looking good. He's a hot prospect for a reason. Um, I don't know, man. I didn't like the way he carried himself after the fight. I don't like how he's been running his mouth after the fight. He won, but you gotta do more if you want a title. Same way when you fight a title fight. To be the champ, you gotta beat the champ. You gotta do it convincingly. Same way in the UFC. If you want a title shot, you gotta prove it to everyone that no one else deserves it except for you. And that goes for you, Bilal Muhammad. That goes for you too. Anyways,
and yeah. Speaking of a good point to make on how close this fight was, I think this is one of the fights that, like, say Kai was the champ and Albazi had the same performance, that he wouldn't have got the win because he wouldn't have done enough to beat the champ. But if Albazi was the champ and Kai fought, Albazi would have won because Kai didn't do enough to beat the champ.
right.
That's how close I feel like this fight was. So
No, I agree. I agree.
going into UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana. Let's look at some of the fights we got here. We got, first of all, we could talk about Nunes versus Aldana first, I guess. Is Juliana Pena was supposed to be here, but they subbed her out for Aldana. I like this fight better. I feel like this fight was more exciting for, I guess, at least against Amanda, because I feel like she would have destroyed Juliana again. I don't know. I feel like Juliana just had that one time luck, or I feel like Amanda had a bad camp or something, or injury.
Yeah.
But if you look at the last fight, she destroyed her. Like, she got caught a couple times actually in the beginning of the fight, but the second half of the 5 rounds, she was destroying Juliana.
This is a better matchup. It's a more fun fight in my opinion. Um, I think Aldana poses more danger than Juliana does. For Amanda, because Aldana is just so well versed and
Her size,
her size as well. Because it's tough to find a woman that's as big as Amanda in the UFC. And listen, I know Amanda. She's dominant. She disposed of Cyborg. She killed Juliana Pena last fight. But I don't know, Aldana, man. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious, man. Those are the Mexican fighters have been on a roll this year. Um,
especially that camp.
yeah, that camp is yeah, dude. It's like we'll see. I'm very excited for that fight. Amanda, a minus 330 favorite, is warranted, which makes this the perfect fight to throw money on Aldana on. Just in case. And then the fight next to it, right, the co-main, Beneil and Charles Oliveira. Oh,
This is really the main event.
thank you, God above that this fight's happening.
Fight of the year, baby.
Bro, so Beneil's a minus 130 favorite, which I love. I'm a big Beneil fan. I'm a big Charles fan as
Best
well.
lightweight in the world. Best lightweight in the world. Beneil Dariush.
Listen, Beneil Dariush, man. I want him to win. The man has deserved a title shot at lightweight for a while now. I want him to get his flowers, right? I'm gonna be honest. If either of these guys win, I'm not gonna be upset. I'm not gonna be upset because this is the number one contender fight at lightweight. If we're being honest,
Yeah.
whoever wins this fight, like Islam has to fight next. And
Well,
I think
I don't know if Charles wins. I feel like Charles. I mean, because you got that Gaethje versus Poirier. Say something crazy happens there. You think Charles gets it over one of them two?
yes, 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 because Charles is coming off. Charles coming off 4 championship fights. Well, one that was not because he got stripped, but let's be honest, championship fight. So 4 championship fights. A loss to Islam. So won 4 out of 5, all in championship fights, and lost to the current champ, right? Meanwhile, Gaethje is coming off a loss to Habib,
Championship fight.
championship fight, a loss to Habib, and a win against Fiziev. That's it.
A loss against Charles Oliveira.
And a loss against Charles, yeah. So I don't know, and I think Beneil. You look
He
at
beat
Beneil's
Michael
track.
Chandler though. He has Michael Chandler win in there as well.
Yeah. Well, everybody has a win against Michael Chandler. So does Oliveira, if we're being honest. No respect to Chandler. That's my guy. But Beneil Dariush, man, I think a win against Beneil, that's so big on your resume. I think now that weighs more than a win against Dustin for Gaethje, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean he's got that win over Gamrot, and you see like what Gamrot does against a guy like Jalen Turner, even though it's a close fight. But I mean, so it shows the levels.
Yeah, and I think Beneil, like either of these guys win, next title shot. You like Gaethje and Poirier do the BMF fight. Whoever wins that, you keep moving it down the line. And I think the path to Beneil winning is going to be tough. But same for Oliveira. These guys are so evenly matched. I don't think people realize just how good of a grappler Beneil Dariush is. Against Charles Oliveira, that's a great fight. Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit's going to be a great fight. Nate Landwehr, Dan Ige.
Oh my God, when did they make this fight?
That is a fight to look out for, bro.
I got Nate.
I'm taking Nate as well.
And then we got Eric Anders coming off his Joe Rogan Experience podcast.
Chris Curtis against Imavov is going to be a great fight as well.
That camp, they always fight each other and they train out the same. Bro, them people, they don't give a fuck at that gym. They be fighting each other. They be training out the same gym, bro. or they had time at the same gym together and they don't give a fuck. Like that's crazy. Chris Curtis, I think, has fought like 3 teammates. I think he's fought like 3 people. That's crazy.
Oh, Extreme Couture is something, man. Yeah, dude, there's not a lot of fights on this card. This is a very small card, actually.
Miranda Maverick, she
Yeah,
show some shine. She's like, I don't know. And then bro, that Kyle Nelson versus Blake Builder, that's gonna be a good fight.
that is gonna be a good fight. There's one more. Eric Andrews and Marc Andre Barreau is an underrated fight in my opinion. I like Barreau a lot. I don't know. I think the card is top heavy, and I don't think it's gonna sell much. But for us purists and hardcores, this is
This
gonna
is a
be
card for MMA fans.
exactly what you just said. Yep, I agree 100%.
You're gonna
Outside,
buy it to watch the Charles versus Beneil and to see if maybe Amanda gets upset. That's it. Just
yeah, it's gonna be a great card. Glove Talk podcast. We will be covering all of that coming up. Some other news in the fighting world. You're gonna love this, John. Dana White wants Tyson Fury to fight John Jones, and he keeps doubling down on wanting Tyson to come to MMA and fight John
and
Jones.
do it in slap league, bro. Why not? Meet at a middle ground.
Um, I don't know how to feel about that. I
I
really
still gotta
don't.
watch next episode. This is my bad. I gotta watch the TUF episodes. We can talk about TUF
Same, same.
next podcast.
Yeah. PFL's coming up next week. Brandon Lunan versus Pinedo. PFL regular season fights for the belt. Clarissa Shields got a shutout decision fight last night, and still she's well on her way to being the greatest women boxer of all time.
Stop doing MMA.
For now, yeah, because she lost her last fight, so she's kind of she. I think she realized you can't really do both at the same time. You have to kind of it's tough. It's tough. Some other fights coming up. Cannonier Vittori will be the next fight night after 289. Nemkov versus Romero for the Bellator light heavyweight belt, June 16th. That's gonna be a great fight.
And that's the only really fighter in Bellator who could probably challenge the UFC champ.
Yeah.
At
Oh,
light heavyweight.
Nemkov for sure. Well, Nemkov has a win over Yuri.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we still got to see that Jamal versus Yuri fight, but
Yeah. Another fight got announced: Jalton Almeida versus Curtis Blades in November.
it's kind of weird because didn't Jalton just beat what's his face? Who he just
Jarzinho. Yeah,
he
Jarzinho.
just beat Jarzinho.
Yeah. And Curtis
So
Blades just lost to Pavlovich. I think it's just they want to keep moving Almeida up. They don't want to do it too quick. I think it's a perfect fight for him. Since of like
Curtis just got slapped, bro. I feel like he should get more time off.
November. It's November, so I mean
But I guess he's not gonna get punched that much this fight. He's just gonna get choked out. So
yeah, I was say he's got 5 months. And it's perfect for Jalton Almeida. It's a guy in the top 5 heavyweight.
they were like, you know what? Let's find out who's the best wrestler in heavyweight. Let's put the
Yeah,
two.
no, and I think for Jalton Almeida again, well on his way to being a
Champ,
yep.
double champ.
Amanda Lemos got announced to fight Jangwei Lee at 292.
Yeah, no, that was weird. I'm like, I thought they were doing the Zhang Yanan fight, but
We talked about it last episode about how there wasn't really any clarity on what they were doing with Lemos, man. But
didn't
wow,
Lemos was coming off a? Is she coming off a win?
yeah, she came off a win, but it was she's been off for a while. Yeah, Amanda Lemos coming off a win, but it's a weird situation because yeah, she beat
Oh,
Marina
Marina.
Rodriguez.
That
She
was a
beat
while ago.
yeah, that was November. So basically, she's gonna be taking almost a year off to come back and fight for a title. Meanwhile, Rose and John Janan just sit on the sideline. I don't know how to feel about that.
Carla Esparza, is she retired or?
Having a kid. She having a kid. Yeah, so she's pregnant. So she's out right now.
And then we got I know Verna Johnny Robo is fighting. Who's she fighting? They got her a fight coming.
Verna John DeRoba, man. Shout out Verna. She like
Commented on our post. Shout out
yeah.
to Verna.
Shout out to Werner. Who is she fighting next? Tatiana. Wow. Yeah, she's fighting. No, she beat Tatiana, right? No, she's fighting Tatiana. Yeah, she's fighting Tatiana.
Tatiana
August.
Suarez.
August. Tatiana Suarez. Huh.
So I think she wins
In
that fight.
Nashville.
She's probably next up if she wins that fight.
Yeah, that is Fight Night in Nashville, August. Yeah, like I mean, we've talked about this. It is weird the situations in the women's division in terms of like.
Yeah, because these girls don't fight. But I think what you need to do is Dern versus Rose, or Yanan versus Rose, or Yanan versus Dern. You got Lemos fighting Whaley, and then you do Verna versus Tatiana. Okay.
I know we're getting ahead going into August, but I just looked at the rest of the card that Verna's on. Dustin Jacoby versus Kennedy and Zichekwu.
Okay.
That's a good fight. Saeed Nurmagomedov versus Kyler Phillips. Also a very good fight.
But you're getting way too ahead. We're gonna need this for the pod.
No. Wait. The channel's biggest hater is fighting on that fight.
Ooh,
Who? Come on, man. Who's our channel's biggest hater?
I can't think right now.
Odie Osborne is fighting in August. What a bum. What a bum.
Yeah, bro, homie followed us and then probably unfollowed us. He's seen a clip of us saying he's
Yeah,
trash.
well, I did dog him for losing to a guy that had a patch of hair on the back of his neck. So, sorry, man. Listen, this is the entertainment business. I gotta say what's on my mind. You don't like it, guess what? You can go and follow, but you're still a bum. Anyways, I think that kind of wraps it up, man, for what we got. Definitely shifting our focus to 289.
And hey, and
Oh,
sorry for us being off last week. We had Jose was sick, and I also wasn't feeling the best the next day. So we decided just to chalk it up and come back stronger because we got some good fights coming up. We got some good cards coming up. So the second half of the year is probably gonna be super strong. Probably gonna get Connor fight. We're gonna get the John Jones fight. So it's gonna be a good
and
second
when
half.
we're gonna find Mackenzie Dern's ex-husband, we're gonna deal with him. We're gonna deal with him.
Go.
Mackenzie, we love you. You don't gotta deal with that. You don't gotta deal with that, man. Wesley Santos, you're a bum, bro.
And that'll be it. That's gonna be it for Glove Talk episode 15. Like, subscribe, follow us on IG at the Glove Talk Pod, and we'll see you guys next time.
Michael Bisping, you're married. Don't forget it.